Hello, people of the future, and welcome back to creating a collectible card game, virtual card game, or whatever the heck this is going to be. Last time I was trying to explain what my classes and my ideas were in the beginning, and, well, it would have started wandering, which is why I'm going to go through the classes instead. With Archer. Archer has more of a upbeat. It is low in cost if you guys look. The average cost of an Archer card I think was like 4, which means, and this is something that anyone who doesn't know what I mean by card game or Hearthstone or anything, turn 1 you have 1 mana, turn 2 you get 2 mana, turn 3 you get 3 mana. You spend however much mana you want out of that per turn. So turn 1 you can play a 1 cost card. Turn 2 you can play 2 1 cost cards or a 2 cost card. Simple, I'm just saying that just in case someone doesn't understand. So turn 4 you have 4 mana to play a 4 cost guy or any combo of numbers to add up. But yeah, the average cost of a Archer card is low, and I think, dropped some of the mana. So, with Archer being a aggressive, in-your-face deck with Rush, which means they can attack the turn they're summoned, Pest, which means they ignore Armor and Taunt, they draw themselves, they summon things with Rush, they get a big minion at the later end of their curve, they buff their own minions, they have some taunt, they have rush, Battlecry just burn the board. They are definitely scorch earthing this forest that they're in. They are aggressive. They are what I'm calling my rush, my aggro, my deck of it will wail on you in the early game, but you have to maintain the board and keep holding, if that makes sense. Where when I was designing Prowler, I thought, oh yeah, I can make cards that add more cards because you're not gonna have cards to play. Turn 7, you're literally having 1 card. If you've drawn like none of your big guys, if you haven't drawn any of your big guys, which even if you want your big guys, and yeah, that's the thing, it's like a lot of the higher cost things aren't as aggressive, they slow down as they go up. So Archer I really thought was going to be like in your face, punch, 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 stuff like that, aggressive. So Prowler, I'd think, okay, I need some way of slowing that aggression down. Or when that aggression dies and when you're just drawing 1 card and able to play 1 card per turn, you need some catch-up mechanic. So I'm like, okay, cash drop, cash drop. Which I literally took off of cash with a SH, shop, and that I heard while watching Overlord. Nice anime. And, well, I was watching it tonight, I stayed up way too late, and some cards got made. So I made Trap Cash, which adds some trap cards to your hand, which as you see really aren't around here. I also made Cash Provider, which adds cash cards to your hand and makes traps cost less. I made Weapon Cash, which equips a Trapper's Bow and summons 2 tree cover. and I made explosive cash, which gives your death rattles. Death rattles are guys that literally say death rattle over here. Like this guy's a death rattle, but it's not a minion. Death rattle minions would include this guy, death rattle, which would gain deal 2 damage and then destroy all minions, which would be also useful. But then I come down here and knows here's all the traps. Here's the traps, here's what they do. They all cost 2. I love 2 because, and here's something on my idea, and this is just what I threw out there, and I haven't had to fix it yet. 2 mana out, 2 out of 10 mana. 1/5 of your mana to get a powerful effect that you know what it is, but your opponent doesn't. I'd say that's fair. And as you see, there's just sporadic around here. Oh yeah, also one warning. Wait, what? Uh-oh. I have a duplicate somewhere. Whoosh. That's one thing I just realized. So, oops. You get to see me just double check this. Yeah, everyone has it. Why? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 plus, yeah. Double check how wide that is. 11 wide, so you'd be 10 wide. How is that a thing right now? Yeah, I'm clueless. I'll figure out what that mathing is later. But yeah, each trap costs its own different pool of cost. And each one kinda works how it is. As I said, a long-term trap requires water. I thought it made it cost metal. No, because that's what trap cash costs. Okay. Yeah, I will have to work on whatever the heck. Missing a 2 down there. But I'm getting off topic. I spent 8 minutes on this. But yeah, like, Prowler is gonna definitely be like a slower, it was gonna be more stealth, more control. The control hunter we saw and really never got -2 cheesy ass versions of it. A mostly spell control hunter, which didn't use any of the control minions that were in the game of Hearthstone. And this is really where Archer, Druid, and what I thought Rogue was going to be more of in my game. Not directly, but it felt like it would be more of. This definitely has its aggro up here, and then it can transition into the control, which makes this class what I feel complete. If that makes sense. Since the Corruptor inverts the class most of the time. And with this, it really turned into a trap focus instead of a cash focus design. And I could literally just be missing the 2. No, I am not. So I am just going to put it there for forewarn. But like going over to Crusader, I said someone of the light, someone holy, and stuff like that. Rally the army, King's Wisdom. Guys that get drawn, aspiring squires help get you cards. They're your supply runners. Deal 2 damage. It's all about the aspiring squire, all about your army. You gotta build up an army to whittle down your opponent. You got some slowness in the early game, that way your army starts snowballing, your army gets bigger, and it just starts going into more and more. Whereas the Death Knight is definitely not so much about the army anymore. It's about damage. It's hurting. It's using the undead and grim. I'm definitely going grim derp with this class. But it's like, set all minions strength to 1. Set all minions power to 1. These abilities just shut down everything. The darkness has fallen. All the warriors have lost their willingness to fight. They are now scared. They won't be as powerful to hit, or they'll be easier to hit as well. That was my idea. The hurt will fall. Death Knight, dead, undead, damage, destroy, stuff like that was what I was thinking. So this is like a destroy and weaken versus this is build an army. Opposites. And then I think I'll hit Mage. Mage is mostly messing around with spell empowerment, spells. And I'm definitely making more of an elemental mage with the light and freeze effects. Which I will have to balance out. I will warn that. And explosion! I gotta put that in. I just had to. Konosubarashi, or whatever the heck the name of that anime is. Brilliant. Which, yeah, that card didn't get designed that long after that. But, like, Mad Scientist revolves around cursed elements originally. The Forbidden Tome, Cursed Metal, Cursed Earth, Cursed Fire, and Cursed Ice were the original 5 cards of Mad Scientist. So, it was all about using magic, then the Mad Scientist is touching magic that's taboo, untested, and all that. And he accidentally, in the Cursed, released a plague or something. If that makes any sense on the idea. So I got Patient Zero. I have Patient Zero, which has, well, the plague. A benign plague. Which some turn Battlecry, which I gotta fix. Whoosh. This has all been mostly manually typed. Battlecry, you turn a plagued minion, which it takes a little bit to get a plagued minion and a lot more understanding. But yeah, I'm just giving overviews. This one's definitely gonna be a long one. But yeah, Mad Scientist is all about using taboo elements and stuff like that. And when I was designing this, I was originally only going to make 1 elemental per element, since they overload them. Since the elementals actually overload an element. Like if I go back to Archer. Where is an elemental? Oh, come on, really? Where's my elemental here? I am probably missing it. But yeah, this was really inspired. I felt like making elementals because I'm like, yeah, they'd be more stone or more of their specialty. Crusader, did I make an elemental? I made this, which came afterward. With Mage, I don't think I had an elemental just yet in here. No. But like, Explosion, I had to give it a negative. But yeah, I was thinking of that, and I'm like, I gotta work out a way for mad scientist not to kill himself. So I'm like, okay, give a minion that has a hero's health, no attack. Make it so the hero's immune, but you gotta kill the minion, then you can go back to killing the hero. And then if we go over to priests, which now is gained undead, which I added in a little bit later. Undead came with my with more of the Frostmourne undead. Knights of the Frozen Throne, more of the undead came in there. And I do have just clearance spells over here. I'm honestly just designing priests as it will murderize any and everything if it can class. Destroy minions, flat out destroy minions, destroy all non-demons, deal 4 to all characters and heal 2, destroy this. I gotta reword because these were originally part of that effect. And then I originally named weapons equip in my game. And the Shadow Staff would let your healing deal damage. Embrace the Shadows, Alkani Soul Priest, and this is really, it's interesting how Shadow Priest really was never a thing until Anduin the Death Lord. Shadow Lord, Shadow whatever, Shadow Knight, Death Knight, there we are. But yeah, basically my priest would be holy and then get corrupted on the battlefield like my Crusader. The Crusader and priest both fell from the lights, got lost with the holiness wherever that is, and fell to the dark side, the void, the evil, the corrupted. So the Crusader brings back his army with undead squires, with undead knights, shields, hiding behind bodies of frozen squires and stuff like that, where the priest starts summoning his own army of demons. And then came Thief, which, as I said, definitely wasn't in an idea within the original designs, which is why it doesn't have any of its honest first cards. Oh yeah, Priest. Let's just say one thing. I had Shadow Staff. Shadow Cleansing was an old card that I just re-put back in. I had this guy. I had this guy. Shadow Staff, as I said. Remove Wither. I'm like, I honestly, the priest was one thing I was thinking, like, shadow, but I'm like, no, stop with the shadow idea. Like, I brought back a Cleansing Wave. Well, I named it Cleansing Wave versus some other thing I forgot. Purifying Wave, yeah, it just switched some names. But then comes Warrior. Warrior, which was the first class to actually be originally designed off of its 20 cards. With these guys being that, the original 5. So I had Warrior has more of a metal and earth play, if that makes sense. So it's all about armor, knights in shining armor. Knights in shining armor leading armies. So I tried making an army producer that had some taunt, that had some defense. I know I'm dragging this one on, but not that much. But like with this guy, it's an elemental that has Overmind Earth because it's an earthy effect. It buffs. It should be more water, but it's earth because it's taunt plus water. But I was just thinking that way. So I'm like, okay. And I'm not touching neutrals right now. I'll definitely let these 3, 4, whatever videos I do hit first. Go up first before I touch neutrals. To see your guys' reactions. But yeah, I was really thinking, hey, taunt, I love Control Warrior. Make a better Control Warrior. And I will say one thing. The first card, and the card that I have not changed since, is that card. That is the first card I made of this game. Way back. That card I know I made before Cthulhu. I'll just say that. But yeah. And then I was really thinking Brawler could be more aggressive because what's the opposite of control? Looking over to the Archer. Control. Aggro. Aggro turns into control, so going to Warrior, control turns into aggro. So I was thinking of that. And then, once again, minds think alike. Control Warrior, Taunt Warriors were big. And then comes the Death Knight, where deal damage, enrage, minions like that. So I'm like, oh wow, again, great minds, well, minds think alike. I don't know if mine's great yet. I don't want to overjudge mine. And like, this card, when you attack, gain 5 armor. Death Rattle, deal 25 to your hero. That was a downside. Usually I add downsides to the Shadow or the Twisted cards. Okay, if I even go into neutrals, if we look, Twisted. It was the entire idea of having some Twisted cards that were locked until the Corruptor saw play on your side. But yeah, I didn't want to say he was immune because he could take damage. But he only gains 5 armor. So it's kind of like lifesteal, but you gain armor before you hit, so True Silver combined with armor type weaponry, something of that nature. But yeah, and here's something. The second class, you cannot play without the Corruptor. All the classes that have been in down here, you cannot play without playing the Corruptor first. You can have the cards in your deck. You actually have to put the cards in the deck if you want them, not down here. You start with this class, play the Corruptor, and then you get this class unlocked. And you switch the hero trait to this class from this class. If that makes sense. And I'll be making more detailed videos if people wish to know. I actually am going to try and document some of this. This has merely been around for well, over a year now, I know that. I know this has been around for more than a year, because an effect of mine, I remember when Total Biscuit played a all spell damage mage or spell damage rogue, I can't remember what. And I thought, spell empowerment, why not make it similar? I'm like, why not just make all numbers and spells gain? Which is where I'm going to be working on that. But yeah. And like, here are minion types. Neutral, I'm just calling them filler, because the synergy plan is neutrals kind of do everything and anything, so they are really much filler more. They are more filler than anything. Elementals definitely have Overmind on them. That was my original plan of making one elemental of every Overmind. Like, that was a post-it note I ripped off. Elementals. I have steam, metal, fire, air, water, earth created and designed. Earth was in warrior. I still have the light elemental, dark elemental, ice, and stone elemental to work with, but I have dropped the idea of making only 11 elementals. And I'm not so sure on that, but I'm saying that for now. Demons, they cost health. You summon them. You got a blood pack or something with them. Mechs, kinda control another or something like that. Ferals, mechs and ferals really work well with one another. Well, not with another of the opposite, but ferals buff ferals. Ferals work better with ferals. Mechs work better with mechs. Mechs actually have some anti-feral stuff and stuff like that. The undead, they're definitely more death rattle based. Dragons, I was going to make it so that way they all cost living stone, but I'm like, no. So, certain dragon cards, if you have a living stone, you get a bonus effect. They reduce cost, they are big. Stone soldiers are definitely more armor, more taunt, more defensive base. Giants are a token, and the Cvon are what becomes out of the plague. It's my idea, and this is where I have an issue. For some reason, I was watching a lot of Halo 5 lore videos and a lot of Flood. Well, I'm just saying Halo 5 as a reference point. I was watching a lot of Halo lore videos and Flood videos. I forgot what the guy was. It's like a Halo encyclopedia guy or whatever. He loves the the Flood. I love Zerg, even though I play Terran in StarCraft. But I'm like, okay, what if the Zerg and Flood have a kid? I just created the Zeron. And immediately these are the plagues of the mad scientists that actually accidentally got made. So yeah, a lot of this stuff has had many redesigns. Me and a few people have tested this. Obviously, as you see, we've only tested certain areas. And even if you look, I have experimental and effects, which I'll open up effects only because I just felt like numbering all the effects to figure out how much I have. And like this area, I am making it that way I could search an AoE instead of just adding a random spell or something like that. I can specify what type of spell or minion it does. Like, these are all the effects that I can come up with. And this guy's a somewhat effect. States of where I'm thinking, transition to melee, I'm like, eh. And voila. Card types. Card types so far, I have five card types. Minion, spell, weapon, aura, and hidden. Admittedly, both these are really just a place on the board, like transition. It's like, these three really aren't, just really fit there. They're just more like a position or something of that nature. And with auras, I was thinking, I love Ice Block, and the quest came around, I'm like, okay, I like this idea. Quest Mage definitely started blowing up, and that's when I started pop up with auras and other stuff. But yeah, that's basically my class outlines. So, see you guys next time, and this is going to be the last of the pre-records.